Okay, hi, I'm Sarah Kincaid, and we're talking about vertical hydroponics, which is something that is not really a new concept, but it's new for me. And I'm just going to take you through this quickly. Well, vertical hydroponics, what is it? It is the process of growing plants in a confined space in a vertical arrangement. And so if you are, the situation we have at our schools, we have a shed style greenhouse, and so it's not a huge area as opposed to having a full high tunnel or even low tunnels. And so when I started looking at this a few years ago, in fact it was my brother who is also a science teacher, he said, have you looked into hydroponics or aquaponics? You know, that's sort of an interesting thing to go through. And so if you are looking at confined spaces or a not so easily climate controlled space, aquaponics or hydroponics is a good way to go. And how they do this, you're basically in a PVC pipe, and there's a nutrient-rich solution that is misted in through the interior of this pipe, and then it is put in these little pods. And so you can grow anywhere from 24 to 48, I think up to 96 pods of whatever you're planting at a time. I purchased this from Growers Supply. It's a division of Farm Tech. And the whole thing, the pods, the entire system, the caging, and even the nutrient solution was around $850. So it is a fairly hefty investment, but it's something that's not a one-time use. The only thing that you have to buy new every season would be the pods are universal for whatever you're planting. You see it most often. The big thing is indoor strawberry cultivation. That's the big thing, but you can grow just about anything in it. But you do have to have a different chemical mist, and it's a series of gallon jugs that you're going to dilute with water, and depending on what stage of germination and growth that it's going through, you will change that pH level of that nutrients. The big thing that I ran into, and the picture in the catalog and online, it's like, wow, this is basically a PVC pipe that you stuck on top of a bucket. And when I talk to the people at Farm Tech, they're very nice, like, oh yeah, it's very easy. But there are lots and lots of parts, way more advanced than I had anticipated. Because my goal was, oh, we're going to, spend a class period, or keep some students for an afternoon, and we'll put this together. And that was not at all what we could have done. In fact, I sent my student worker, when all the boxes came in, I thought it was coming in one box. It came in like 8. And I said, hey, go back there, find the instructions, see what we have to do, and we'll start on this. And he goes through the information. He said, we can't put this together. They have a whole page of just the tools that you need. So even though once it came together, I'm just giving you advanced, it was lots of parts. So this is my dad. Fortunately, he's super handy. And having our resident physicist on staff, between them it did take them almost 2 hours or more to put this together, because even though it was very detailed, and like I said, it's a very good product, it was quite labor intensive. I think there was about 400 pieces all individually wrapped, so it was a major endeavor. And they were sort of laughing. They're like, are you going to put this on display? I'm like, yeah, well, I got to show you, because I could not have done all this. So it does require, you need to have some skill set, unless you have very talented students. Like you had to, lots of the plastic had to be drilled through, or you had to have, I think it's called an auger saw. You had to do that a lot, so they didn't have a lot of pre-drilled stuff. And so it's not really going to be, because it was my freshmen who were working on it this year, and I'm like, okay, that's not going to be in their skill set. So that just shows you all the bits and pieces that they're looking at and some of their levels of frustration. And even, I think I had about 5 different shots of them both standing there like, I don't know what to do next. And they would just both stand there and look at it. But the good thing behind it is, and you don't see this here, am I supposed to touch that? Sorry. You don't see this framing in the picture. When you have the hydroponics, because it said, oh, you're getting the 48-inch, I got the 4-foot one. The 4-foot portion of this is actually the tube itself. And it's just a standard, it's 48 inches by, I think, 12 inches. So it's a very large piece of material. But it's actually more about 7.5 feet tall. And when you see this in the catalog or online, you don't have this metal rigging, which was fairly labor intensive to put together. But the good thing about it is, It can be slid into a very small space. You can even, the concept behind it is you should be able to do it in a classroom that has a window. Mine is an interior room, so we'll be putting it in the greenhouse. But it's very easy. You just, once you put, as you can see, the little holes, you put the pods in there, and whatever you're growing, you just put the seed, and then it's fertilizes it through misting. And the misting pumps are down in the reservoir, and they're basically an aquarium pump is what they are. So they're going to be very low wattage and very low noise resistance. So you're not going to have this in your classroom and it'd be like completely disruptive. Like I said, mine, you can see mine has 24 different pod cells, and you can grow anything in it. And this is the component, and Dr. Haritas and I have been talking about this since we started coming to these, and we have, by the fall, we'll have a complete STEAM lab at our high school. And so he and I have both talked that, you know, the components that he's bringing in and the components I'm bringing in, this is more of the biological agricultural aspect, and so we'll have hydroponics, cold frames, and then a greenhouse to go along with that STEAM lab. And so there's different things that we're working together on. And like I said, if it wasn't for Dr. Haritas and my dad, it would probably still be in boxes. But it's a neat setup, and like I said, it's totally reusable. That's why I liked it. The gallon jugs itself, the nutrient solution is only all 3 of them that you need for complete growth is less than $100. So it's something that the initial investment is a little scary, but subsequent years you're going to have maybe $100 to $150 at the most to redo it every year. That's all I have. Any questions? Okay, thank you.